Hello, and thank you for listening and watching the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your host, Max Trujillo, and today we are in studio for one. It is fantastic, and we're going to talk about women, folks. We're going to talk about the We Power Food nonprofit organization, and more importantly, the event that is coming up on January 26th. So it's coming soon. It's almost a month away. But with me in studio, you've met her before, and she's been on the podcast. Friend of the show, really good bitters maker. We're talking about Ariana Nestor. Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And you you are the one that let me meet Sue Ellsworth, who is right here, who is the founder of We Power Food. It's a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. It is to empower women in the food and beverage industry. Yes. And you're having an event coming up soon. So we're going to talk about all that, but welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you, and it's good to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, this is fun. For our listeners, I haven't done an episode in about a month. It's just been crazy. I was a little sick, a lot of travel, scheduling. It snowed. That was on the night we were trying to do the thing. So it's just whatever. Excuses. They're all like assholes. Everyone has one. They all stink. But we're here. We're back in studio, and we're only just a few days away from Christmas. And it's like the fourth night of Hanukkah, I think, tonight. So we've been doing a little bit of celebration on all of that. And so with the celebration, Ariana, I want to start real quick just because people that know Remedy Bitters also know that your husband, your partner, I don't know the words to use nowadays, Rob Nestor, also hosts a podcast.
Yes.
Drinking with Robots.
Yep.
You are known as quite the cocktail smith. You put together great cocktails. Give me I know what it is. Probably better to hear from you. What's the like elevator pitch of what Drinking with Robots is all about?
So Drinking with Robots takes kind of they do like a geeky dive on random topics, and then they give a cocktail creation prompt to AI and to real life bartenders. And they both have to come up with a cocktail. And sometimes they're cocktail oriented, but sometimes they're like the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
Or the labor movement.
Yeah.
Or
That's really cool.
random topics, right? And so they'll do a deep dive on the history of that topic and or the lore. They did cryptids. I mean, just random fun stuff. And then I'm the judge of the cocktails. So I get handed two different cocktails blind.
Yeah.
Rob, my husband, makes the cocktails in the other room, brings them to me, and I have a little rubric because I used to teach. So I have a rubric, and I'm very thorough.
Yeah.
And I have to score the cocktail on a whole bunch of different, criteria. And then we find out live on the air whether or not the human or the AI won.
Yeah, and
the cocktail.
The AI wins a lot.
Concerning amount.
Really?
Really. The first season, I think it was about a 60-40 split. So humans were still on top, but ChatGPT, I think, is what they were using last season. And with some of the updates, it was really neck and neck. It was surprising how often they were, at the very least, the cocktails were like within a few points of one another. Yeah. So it was kind of skewing one way or the other based on like really kind of nitpicky stuff.
Yeah, and it's
whether or not you remember to use a garnish, right? Because if you don't put a garnish, how am I supposed to score garnish?
Yeah.
Right. So it started to get really kind of particular on the scoring.
It's lousy because AI really truly is like, it's getting smarter. It's getting better. Yeah. Are you a little scared?
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Oh, I love AI.
Yeah. It's cool. As a musician, I'm like a little upset with it. Although the music's great. Like now you're hearing 50 Cent songs that they turn into R&B tunes, or they're like, they did like Enter Sandman as like almost like a Johnny Cash version. And it sounds awesome. It's super cool. But my daughter is swift to remind me, she's almost 16. She's a musician herself. We get in the car and I go, what do you think of this? She goes, this is AI, right? I go, yeah. She's like, what are you doing? And I go, what do you mean? She's like, why are we listening to this? Why are you supporting any of this? I go, well, I mean, don't have your head in the sand. This was like when the internet first came around, and I remember going, oh, it's just a phase. It's like, no, this is how society is going to go for the rest of our lives. But you gotta embrace it, I guess, and then use it. I mean, to be honest, when we're talking about bringing it back to actually why we're here and talking about the event that's coming up, I put your URL in ChatGPT and said, I was washing the dishes and putting dishes away. And I said, analyze this. I'm interviewing members of this team. Give me a brief synopsis of what's going on and speak it to me, because I just have headphones in and I'm better, oratorily listening, learning or whatever. And so it was great. And it kind of just told me what was going on and what you guys were doing. And it was just a really easy way to just cliff note and really understand what's going on so that I didn't be a complete idiot walking into this room. But we will dive into it real quick. I just want to say thank you because, for one, we're talking about the bitters, and I've got this. For those that are watching the show, and if you're not, you can watch it on YouTube. You go to any of our links on our Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but you can check out our YouTube page right there. What I'm showing to the camera right now are a couple of different bottles that Remedy has just put out. What three of these?
So the one you're holding up right now is Devil's Food. That is our latest barrel aged collaboration we did with Kill Devil Rum. So we try to collab with a lot of local distillers and things. And that is a barrel aged chocolate bitter. And then and then the other two are Festivus and Krampus, and those are our winter flavors. So Festivus is a spiced pineapple. Think like the caramelized outside of your baked ham.
Yeah.
So clove and molasses and pineapple. And then the Krampus is a spiced plum. So that is like a sticky plum with allspice and cinnamon.
Yeah, you are the maker of these things.
Yes.
Like you actually brew them up and make.
My husband calls me the mad scientist of flavor.
Yeah, yeah. He's just the pretty boy that helps sell it, but you're the brain.
He's my chief talking officer.
Exactly.
What would you do with the chocolate?
The chocolate, I love putting that in Oaxacan old fashions. So like an añejo tequila with agave syrup and 2 dashes of that. Espresso martinis. I'll put it just in my coffee because I'm just a black coffee drinker. But if you want to add a little depth and flavor, like a couple of dashes of bitters in your coffee.
It's a great idea.
Also a really great option. Also really good in old fashions.
And then one last thing is, just because this is cool, this is self-indulgent, and everyone knows I'm very self-indulgent. This is a Trujillo tequila, everybody. And you brought this back when you were visiting Mexico, is that correct?
No, actually, so this was at Tales of the Cocktail.
Oh, right, that's
in New Orleans. Yeah, so in New Orleans this year for Tales of the Cocktail at the end of July. And, there's a whole bunch of spirit makers there, and the son of the man who makes this tequila was there just passing out bottles at the end of the event. I think that they were going back to Mexico and they didn't want to bring any bottles back. And so I was outside the elevator and they were just like handing out bottles.
Oh, wow.
And so I had him sign the bottle and I was like, I got to give one to Max.
So cool. That is so cool. I appreciate it. Yeah. One last show and tell, and this is what we're talking about right here. I don't know if the light's going to pick it up very well because of the reflection, but it's just a little pamphlet that is talking about We Power Food. So let's get into it. Sue, I'm going to have you kick it off. We know an event's coming up, but you founded this whole organization. So just like Ariana was talking about Drinking with Robots, the podcast, give us a little pitch about what We Power Food is all about.
We Power Food is designed to help women food businesses and enable them and empower them to be more successful with their businesses by providing tools and resources and a safe place for women to ask questions.
Okay. Yeah. In a sense that, I mean, obviously most industries are male dominated and, men don't think of it like we're getting assistance from each other because it's almost like, it's like when you talk like race relations, it's like white privilege and all. Like if you're white, you don't really get why you have privilege. You're like, wait, no one's giving me free stuff. But it's like, well, you might actually get a little edge on things just because you're familiar to the person that may be hiring you or purchasing product from you. And their familiarity sometimes kind of breeds, more business, I guess, And so, so I guess guys don't think about it because they're ubiquitous in the industry. So with women, there needs to be like a collaboration or a support system.
There does. And I am a very observant person. I like to observe what's going on around me. Yeah. And a few years before I started We Power, I started to observe different women that I had worked with over the years. And some of them had just kind of disappeared out of their businesses. So I've been in a shared commercial kitchen for about 11 years in various capacities. So I was there and I was watching what was happening to women. And then I would take part in different meetings where men and women were both involved. And you could see some of the women absolutely change, and they wouldn't ask questions. And you could tell that they just didn't feel safe to ask certain questions, particularly questions that would benefit them or help them. A lot of women aren't comfortable asking those types of questions. So that was one of my first observations. And that led me down the path of talking to women in different high-profile positions. They were either elected officials, they were just really familiar with the food ecosystem. They had great passion for it. So I brought them in, and for about a year, we just discussed things that we saw that were happening, and we brainstormed ways that we could help women. And from that, We Power Food was born.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's great. You hear those studies about when there's like a job application available that, men, if they read that these are the 10 qualifications that are necessary for the job, and the man might have like 5 or 6 that he knows he has, but the other 4 he doesn't have, he'll still apply, be like, whatever, I'll figure it out. But conversely, it's like, just as testing has been done, that women will tend to say, well, I don't know X, Y, or Z, so I'm just not going to apply. And just like, it's like, maybe maybe women are a little bit more careful and forward thinking about like what it's actually going to be like. Whereas men tend to just kind of say, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. I don't know.
It could be. It could very much be that. And I want to be clear that not all women.
Yeah, this is total general.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't want people calling up and saying, Sue thinks all women. No.
And there are a lot of guys that won't apply for a job if they don't know how to do all the things. This was just a study generically that's like the trend, like it would more often than not, a man would apply for a job that he's not qualified for, whereas a woman, if she even had like 7 or 8 of the attributes of the 10, would not, because she doesn't have all 10. And so it's like, so even that, it's almost like it's taking her out of the game before she even got started. And so maybe having this support system of kind of almost empowering women, saying, like, no, you could do this. And even if you don't know how to do it, who cares? They'll teach you. You'll figure it out. And having a support system with even having other women that are in the industry, I imagine, is what really helps.
Is vital.
Right. That's cool. So okay, it's a nonprofit. You've been, how many years has it been now?
I think I started it around 7 years ago, but at that time we were calling it Women in Business. Okay. And that's when I was having those meetings, those roundtable discussions.
Yes.
So then it was We Power Food about a year and a half after that. And then we became a nonprofit about a year later. So We Power has been around for about 5 years.
Cool. Okay.
As We Power.
And then let's talk about this event. This is happening on Guitar Christmas, which is what I call it, because it's January 26th. That's when Eddie Van Halen was born. So that's how I remember everybody, Guitar Christmas, because he was, the second coming of guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe say Jimi Hendrix was really kind of more like the premier, but Eddie came later, so that's fine. But it is January 26th, and tell me the details so that anybody knows. And we'll put links in our bios and everything so everyone knows. But what's the event all about?
It's an empowerment conference, and we've been doing empowerment conferences for the last 3-4 years now. And we bring in various speakers on different topics. Yeah. And we like to have topics that are about self-care, about how to grow your business, how to start a business. Ariana, why don't you jump in and, Jennifer's last name? Sarah Cooney, who will be one of our keynote speakers.
Friend of the show. She's great.
She's wonderful.
And this is in Havelock, right?
Yes.
In North Carolina, Havelock, which is essentially, that's coastal, right?
It's down by New Bern.
It's Craven County. Yeah, it's down by New Bern. So we were hoping to have it in further east in North Carolina this year.
Yeah.
We've had it out in the mountains. We've had it, we had it in Winston. We've had it in Alamance. Yep. So we try and make it kind of all over the state, because we are trying to reach all women in the state who are in the food industry. So this year we decided to move a little further east and be a little closer to the eastern North Carolina businesses that, so make it easier for people to come out.
Very cool.
So, but yeah, we've got a lot going on this year for the conference. Sue and I are both on the conference committee, building that out. But we've got Jennifer Meyer coming, who's going to speak and help people build a good pitch and tell their story. Because often a major struggle for any business owner, but especially women business owners, is the imposter syndrome, right? Feeling like you don't belong, being nervous about telling people about your business and telling your story. It's just, hey, I have a thing, right? And they don't know how to approach it in a way that's, that resonates with people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like yourself, I mean, before you decided to go public with your bitters, I mean, did you have it in your head like, what makes me think I could do this?
Oh, I have a master's in international relations. I mean, it's not food industry. And I grew up in food industry, but my education is not in this. And I was not a bartender going into bitters, so for a little while there, I definitely felt like, are people even going to be interested in the product? Or they're going to think that, like, what are they even going to think? They're not going to buy my product, right? So I have to kind of remind myself that, no, I grew up in this industry, and I know flavor, and that's really what it comes down to. So
and let it be known, I'm always intimidated in your presence because I know this stuff so well. I guess this is where I have to show off my stupid cocktail that I made. I made this, and we should try it. I know that Sue, you got really excited when I said, "Do you want to have cocktails?"
I'll talk more.
Yeah, I don't have a name for it, but it's mezcal based. It's basically a mezcal last word, but not exactly. That's chartreuse, mezcal, fresh lime. But then have you had See the Elephant liqueur? It's an Amaro.
Yes. Yeah.
It's from New York. I was actually supposed to have this guy on the podcast right before or during the pandemic, and it was a pain in the ass, and we couldn't make it happen. So, for one, I might need to put some bitters in this. I haven't put any bitters in, but let's
always.
Yum, yum, yum. I don't know. I haven't had it yet.
So the herbal from the chartreuse, I feel like is kind of taking over a little.
Yeah.
What's the sweet that you have in here? What did you say you put in?
It's the See the Elephant.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I think you actually probably could use a little bit of like a burnt sugar syrup or a cinnamon syrup or something like that in there.
Yeah.
To add a little bit of depth there. Because it's got like the high notes and this herbal note to balance it out, maybe a little bit of sweet. Even you could probably do a little agave syrup or something too if you want to just keep it simple.
Yeah. What do you think, Sue?
Well, I think that Ariana definitely knows her stuff here. So I feel a little intimidated critiquing your drink because I didn't go that path at all.
No, where are you?
I thought it needs more lime.
Oh, yeah.
Just simple
acid more, yeah.
More acid.
Garnish.
Well, because you have an Amaro in here, bitters aren't necessarily necessary, but
because the Amaro kind of fills the place.
Yeah. So it's a bitter liqueur, so it's going to add a little sugar and a little bitter. But yeah, I feel like maybe some cinnamon notes would be nice.
Cinnamon sounds like a good idea. Okay, I'm glad that and this is the best part too. And this is actually refreshing because, again, not to oversimplify and talk about men and women's relations and like how they act, but like we are kind of talking about women's empowerment. Cut to other times in life, and some guy goes, "Hey, what do you think about my cocktail?" A polite woman, even though educated in the business, would just go, "Oh, it's great, it's fine." And you're like, "No, you asked me what I thought. I'm going to tell you my answer." And you critiqued it, and you basically told me I fucked up.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to drink it.
That's for totally other reason. That's just because booze is in a glass. No, but I mean, that part right there, I think, is like a very telling aspect of like the kind of the empowerment of just women in business and women just kind of qualifying themselves as leaders in this industry and, an authority on things. And it's really cool to see that kind of balance happening a lot more now. I'm always quite fond of all this. I thought I was actually having a conversation with my good friend, Sarah, who is a female, and she's just my neighbor, and we hang out all the time. And I find that I tend to just be friends with women more than guys. Sorry to my guy friends. You guys are fine, but sometimes a little much to handle. And I like the kind of perspective that I get from hanging out with women, just when it comes to how they perceive situation. Just it's different and it's refreshing. And for me, I grew up with mom. I grew up with a dad. There's no really men except for my brother in my family. And we both were like, we feel confident or comfortable around women. I like my boss at my job, PFG, is a female. She's a total badass. Frida, shout out Frida. You listen to the show, so hello. But she's a great boss, and she's a great boss in like multiple ways, and not in your stereotypical like mother nurturing way that you would like a guy might oversimplify what a woman's role is in a job. No, she's like hard as nails, knows her shit, knows the technical side of it, knows inventories and SKU numbers off the top of her head, and knows how to like sell and get into it deep. And because she is a mother and a grandmother, is also nurturing and kind and all those things. So it's like, oh, okay, so you could do all of it. Whereas maybe a guy sometimes gets a little stunted in some of those situations, you know.
That's the issue. And that's what I saw with a lot of women. A lot of women will start a food business and they do everything themselves. It's really hard for them to ask for help. And a lot of times, and these are just my observations. Sure. If they had a husband who was working a full-time job and they had decided to start a food business, the husband was still the priority, even though they were starting a business. Yeah. They had to handle everything. And they would come into the kitchen and produce. And I remember one time watching a woman, she had everything all set up and she was ready to go. And she got a phone call that her kid was sick. And all she could do was take a trash can and just push everything into the trash can because she had to go. Yeah. And that was one of the things that in my mind made me think we need to start a way to support women. Yeah. There has to be a way around this, and there's got to be a way for them to know that there are people they can reach out to and people that can help.
Just had this conversation with my lady friend, and she was talking about, she also was a food rep in the industry for a long time, and she was saying how she couldn't get into the market, you know, like into her field, like literally, like physically, daily until about 9 o'clock, 9:30, because she's like, I have to take my kids to school.
Right.
And they're all at different ages. And this is when they were younger. And it's like, you know, the daycare didn't start until 9 or whatever it was, you know. And the old guy that was running it was old school. And this is like, you know, what she was telling me last night, actually. It was, you know, he was, why are you not in the field? Everyone else gets in the field at like 8:30 and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, you know what? I'm a mother. I have kids. They need to get to school. That's my number one priority. But I also do my job, and I do it better than most of the people on your team. So if I'm slowing down or failing or do whatever, you could definitely call me out on that. But I'm a human. I live in this world, and this is how it's going to be. And I think, like everybody, I mean, look, I'm now a single dad, and I take my kids once a week on and a week off, and I have to pick them up. I have to go out of my way at around 3 o'clock to go pick them up from school, go drop them off, and then I go back out in the field. And it's like, that's a thing. And we share that stuff, just we as a society, a little bit more than we used to. Men tended to be like, it's my job and F off, you know, whatever. But I think like understanding the balance of humanity and how that relates to business is a little bit better. And I think maybe it's happening just because there are so many more women in the industry in leadership roles now than ever. I don't know if you agree with that.
I do agree. And I am seeing a difference. And some of it, I'm going to say, is the results of working with women through We Power.
Yeah.
They do feel more empowered to be able to stand up for themselves. But when you watch a woman who is starting a food company, doing all the sales, doing all the ordering, doing the distribution, doing the production, and you're watching her just do all of it, and she is struggling so hard, and they start to achieve a level of success, but that just means, and I'm sure you've experienced this, more distribution, more time in the kitchen, and then they start to struggle with those family issues. Should I be home? Should I not be home? Yeah. We just want to normalize this for people. We want them to be able to talk about it and express it and to talk about it freely without fear.
I feel like that's, I mean, I kind of knew a little bit about everything. I'm pretty good at what I do. But because of that, I also didn't think anyone else could do it better than me. Mm-hmm. And my ego got in the way and I would do all of it. But then I would burn myself out because I'm working 80-hour weeks. I'm not around my kids. I'm not around my wife. I'm just doing all of it. And so, you know, what was this? Some quote recently, it was like, if you can't step away from your job that you own, then you don't own the job. You're just an employee. It owns you. Yeah. And you know, it does take, maybe I am better than the other person right now at doing all the things. But if I implored them to do it and guided them, and then also just kind of stepped back and didn't try to do so much, maybe that person would just grow and figure out, because there was a time where I didn't know anything and I figured it out. So I have to trust that other people could do that same thing at some point.
I like that. That's interesting to me, particularly as I have recently moved into a new position. So I went from being the manager of the shared kitchen to the executive director.
Yeah, explain what you do for a living, like aside from the nonprofit.
I manage a 10,000 square foot shared commercial kitchen.
Yes.
And we have approximately 70 companies that produce out of there.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to keep the facility running. I have to deal with all the regulations around that. I have to help these companies launch and get started. Yeah. And we're a very unique kitchen in the area, as we provide all of those services to people without charging them for it. So if you come in and you tell me you want to be a baker, I'm going to walk you through the entire process of how to become legal. And I deal with a lot of women who've been working out of their homes.
Yeah.
And they're scared. They don't know what it means to go legal, and they're concerned about going legal.
What's the name of your company?
Piedmont Food Processing Center.
That's right. PFAB.
Yep, PFAB.
PFAB. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been a way we've had previous guests of the show. It's been a few years, but like Michael's English Muffins, Mama's Salsa,
Mama's Salsa,
Preeti Was, trying to think off the top of my head, but anyhow, even just those three women in general started, baking in their own kitchens or making food of some sort in their own kitchens, and then eventually, were able to get licensed, because you can license a domestic kitchen or a residential kitchen as long as no pets, right?
Get it approved.
Yeah.
Approved. Yeah. You can bake professionally at your yeah. And but then eventually, then you can just take that idea and then move it out to a commissary or do something like that. So you're seeing a lot of people doing this in general, and your place isn't primarily female. It's just
it's open to anyone,
right? Yeah. But inside of that, you're seeing these 70 different companies. So you're seeing all different walks of life, all different levels of people that know what they're doing. But you're able to kind of consult and guide a bit.
I consult and I guide, and I know the regulations inside and out. And I think one thing that my clients really appreciate about me is I don't bullshit people.
Yeah.
If I don't know what the regulation is, I don't sit there and try to bullshit my way through it. I will just point blank say, I don't know the answer to that, but we can learn it together. And I know the people that I need to talk to about it.
I mean,
that's the ticket, right?
Knowing who to talk to get the answers is half the battle right there.
But that's the thing. Don't bullshit. Don't bullshit. Like, no. I've been, the episode that we did about me, this right now is probably episode 400 or 540.
Wow.
But episode 3 is the one about me, like how I came up. Episode 2 was about Matt, how he came up. And the title of my episode was Lying Your Way to the Middle.
Cheers.
Is I bullshitted my entire career to just get to this high level that I'm at, which is safely inside the middle.
I think that a good goal for most women in any industry is to try and have the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Hey, I'm part Latino, goddammit. It's not just white.
I mean, but you're just saying, you basically were doing that, right? You're trying to have the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yeah, that's true. I was, yeah, I did kind of stifle my Mexican side for that moment. It didn't really fit.
I mean, I don't think you had any Spanglish coming out while you're trying to do that.
No.
Well, it took me a long time to realize you just can't bullshit your way through things.
Yeah.
And I embrace it now. And I've also learned recently to say no. I had a lot of trouble with that. Yeah, well, thank you.
That's another thing that women struggle with
on one of our meeting calls where we were delegating different responsibilities.
And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do that.
And all the women on the call, there were 3 or 4 of you, we just got very quiet. And then it was like, congratulations.
Yep.
Good for you.
So we applauded you and everything. It was great. I mean, that's another thing that women have a hard time doing, is just saying no, right? Like, I just can't do that, right? So these women producers will, get a big order and they'll do whatever they have to and to make it happen, right? But they're not willing to say no when it's going to risk them or their business or their family, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, so I got involved with We Power 3 years ago now. It was like within the first year of opening, and we've been in business for 4 years now. So I joined up because during founding Remedy, I called up the NCDA.
What's the NCDA?
Department of Agriculture,
which is the organization that would regulate the bidders. And I said, okay, I need to know if I can do this from my home.
Yeah.
Right? Talking about low risk foods and whether or not you can produce at home. And so I'm in the middle of like hashing out my business plan, right? I'm like, okay, how much is going to cost for me, my overhead? How much do I have to charge for my product? How much do I have to sell to keep the lights on, right? Yeah. So I'm figuring out all this stuff. And so I call and I talk to somebody at the NCDA and I say, okay, this is the product I want to make. I need to know if I need to get a facility to produce this in or if I can do it from home. And they told me point blank, you cannot do this from home. And I was like, okay. And as a woman, I was told point blank, there was no, I'm not sure, maybe, whatever. It was point blank, you cannot do this from home. And so I proceeded with looking for facilities and pricing all that out. And in the meantime, we had no pets. And in the meantime, we got a cat because the cat distribution system visited my home during COVID and left a kitten under my front porch. Oh, that's how everybody ends up with a cat. And so we had a cat now. And Rob, my husband, said, this is complete bullshit. There's no way, because bitters are essentially vanilla extract.
It's a low risk product.
They're vanilla extract. I guarantee you there's a grandmother somewhere in the state making vanilla extract and selling at their farmer's market, and the NCDA has no problem with it. Yeah. So he talks to the same person.
Oh, no. Did he get a different response?
Same person got a different response. So the fact that I had that support structure, the husband, given at this point I could not do it at home anymore, and I had already gone through and figured out what I had to do, no big deal ultimately. But if I had heard that answer just a couple of months before,
you wouldn't have stepped forward.
I would not, I would have just been like, no cat, right? We're not keeping the cat. I'm doing it from home. I would have started for a lot cheaper, probably would have scaled a lot faster, right? Because I wouldn't have as much overhead. I would have been in a better situation if I had gotten the same answer he had. Yeah. So, but, as a man, he heard no, and he said, well, according to this federal regulation, it's essentially a food product that's like vanilla extract. Do you mean to tell me? And, so he pushed back. Yeah. And so
it reminds me of,
he got a call back. He was like, well, let me check. So the person who was so confident that you couldn't make bitters went and found out and called him back and said, oh yeah, you can do that from home.
Well, from what I gathered, maybe this is just because this is guy think or whatever, but like, I'll challenge anybody when they tell me no. Yeah. And that's mainly because I think most people don't know what they're doing with their jobs. No one's really that good at their jobs. And they only know the regulations because it was taught to them. And most of the people don't understand why it's the regulation. So like, if you understand the why, then you can support your reasoning. But many times that why gets lost because the person that enacted the rule has moved on. 2 people later have now taken that position. And like, they're just like, it's just because that's the way it is. And the thing I'm bringing up, and I was actually looking at my chat GPT to remind me, it reminds me of, Dogfish Head Craft Brewing. It's up there in Rehoboth, Delaware. Mm-hmm. Really good beer. Got bought out by Anheuser-Busch or, whatever it's InBev or whatever, like a while ago. And so now, at the brewery up there in Rehoboth, they distill now, and they distill some pretty cool liquor. It's like peanut butter liquor and sea salt gin and like cool stuff. But like it's fun. It's like high quality. But Sam, I'll say his name wrong, Calagione, he was at the time a really young guy. He wanted to make a brewery in the state of Delaware because that's where he lived, and he saw an opportunity. But there was some old archaic law that said no brewery shall be made in this state. Like, it was just a law that they couldn't, or maybe in the county, whatever it was. It might have been the county of Rehoboth, whatever it was a law that said you cannot have a brewery here. And he just said, why?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why is it? He challenged it. And he just went to city council and he said, hey, look, here's some statistics about other small towns that are similar to us that now thrive because, Sam Adams was the local, or, Red Oak, or like whatever. And this is what they did to the economy, and whatever. And so he just challenged it and he overturned the law. And then he created his brewery, which then went on to, get bought out by InBev, and he made quite a nice money.
Awesome.
But like the idea is what you're just saying right now is like, don't accept, like, challenge authority.
Yeah.
And maybe that tends to be a guy thing, because guys also look at like, well, it was just another guy that created this law. So fuck him. Like, it's not like it was like some evil alien overlords that like created the law. It's like, no, it was just another person.
Well, yeah. I mean, and ultimately we tend to, and this is going to sound terrible, but when we hear no, we take it as no.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can translate that however you want on the male side.
I was going to say, sadly, men hear no, and they're like,
maybe. What I'm hearing is there's a chance.
Works 60% of the time, every time.
So,
So bad.
it really
Oh,
is.
we're laughing about casual rape.
Lord.
No, I'm
It's
kidding.
where we're at in society. But when it comes down to it, I think that's ultimately what it is women are really bad at setting boundaries for ourselves, but when we hear boundaries, we tend to take them as law.
Right.
And so
I would assume women also assume that men would do the same thing.
yeah.
It would be like, don't you also have the same boundaries? And guys are like, they're more suggestions. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is seriously, everybody, like, listeners, that we're just generalizing right here. Not everybody is this way, but come on, like, this is, it's just, what a comedian says, the difference between men and women, and we all laugh. So this is that, like, it's just overgeneralization to understand everyone's a little different. I mean, but I think there's a lot of truth in what that is. I think guys tend to bend the rules a whole lot more for whatever reason that it might be. But I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, because they know that it was like a guy just like them that created that rule.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah. That's just like a boom in my head.
But like, but think of it this way, and not to like play like such stereotype, but let's go back to the olden days in like the 50s or so, when grandma had a recipe of how she made some food.
They did it under a male's name.
No. I'm just saying when grandma passed down her recipe to her daughter, to her granddaughter, and then like the granddaughter, let's say, or even the great-granddaughter is like, well, I'm going to change this part and I'm going to update it. Grandma would appreciate it. Or like she would flip it because she knew who it was and that was in her comfort zone and it's in her lineage and it's within her sex. It's within her construct, of her life. But like she'll take the liberties of like advancing that recipe because there's like some comfortability because that's the way it was and whatever. But maybe it wouldn't go the other way if it was like grandpa's soup recipe. Be like, no, that's his and that's the way it is. I can't touch it. But I feel like just trying to like look at it in both sides of the lens is like, I think a woman might alter another woman's rules because it's another woman, but maybe it doesn't go the other way.
And I wonder too, if some of it is you're dealing with government entities.
Yeah.
So you are dealing with people who come in and approach you and they have a badge.
Yeah. And they tend to be men.
And they tend to be men.
Yeah.
Particularly for the higher risk products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The inspectors tend to be male. Yeah. And that can be incredibly intimidating. I always tell people that going through your inspection for your food product is like the first time you got your driver's license. Do you remember that feeling? Oh, yeah. How nervous you were?
Butterflies.
That's what it's like.
Stomach up in your throat. Right. I'm gonna do something wrong. Do I even know what I'm doing?
Yeah,
and then they ask you a question and you're like, ugh.
And then there are regulations that are open to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who's interpreting it? The way I'm interpreting it is one way. The inspector might interpret it a completely other way. You may look at it and think it's something completely different. How do you fight that?
Right.
How do you, as a woman particularly, say to an inspector, I think you're wrong and I want to go above you?
Well, and I mean, even during my first inspection, I remember getting the question so I have an alcohol-based product, right? It's a flavor extraction based on neutral grain spirit. And I got the question of, so this is shelf stable. I'm like, well, yes, it's above 35% alcohol. So it's going to naturally be shelf stable. And he's like, well, you have paperwork saying that? I'm like, human history. We used to not drink the water because it was dangerous. So we drank alcohol. We had kids' beer.
Yeah.
It was like you would die if you drank the water. The alcohol was safe.
Alcohol was safe.
You want me to go find some esoteric
document here? That's all. Yeah.
proving this? You want me to prove that alcohol is safe when all of human history
Right.
Yeah.
tells you this?
And that.
Do I what? So yeah.
I will say though, in the food and beverage industry, at least here in North Carolina, I have yet to meet a male inspector, like a food inspector. Every single
The health inspector.
For health inspectors.
inspectors,
female.
100% female. And my mother, who is amazing, and she's a total boss. She was now retired, but she worked for Lockheed Missiles and Space, Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
But she was at the very top of her field as a quality inspector, but she was inspecting engineers making things like satellites and bombs and, planes. And she'd come in, her name's Rita, they'd call her Red Tag Rita because she's, she didn't even go to college. She barely finished high school. She didn't have a lot of education, but she learned on the job and knows her shit and knows things that she couldn't even begin to translate to the layman. It's no, I'm looking at this doohickey that ultimately is going to be in orbit, right? And it needs to have this type of thing and this type of thing. And she's talking to these high level engineers that, initially would look at her whatever, you don't know. I went to school. I went to MIT, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, but the difference is I get to say yes or no to your work. And I'm saying no. Go fix it, motherfucker. Get out of here. And so she gained respect a lot, and it had to do with her authority for one, but also it's like a check and balance system, and that's the way they set it up there. And it's nice. It's hey, we actually probably don't want another engineer to be the one that's regulating this thing because they might ebb towards just, oh yeah, that'll make sense. It's no, they need somebody that can look at it analytically and separate.
Right.
I do think that what's interesting to me is I think that women exceed on attention to detail.
Oh,
absolutely.
And I remember, I grew up in the food bev industry. I remember working in restaurants in college and losing points on the air vent in the bathroom having dust on it. Right?
Right. Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I'm sorry, I have a son and a husband. They would never notice that shit.
Yeah.
My daughter might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would not.
Oh, yeah. I got called out. I think I keep a clean home. I got called out. Came over to my house and I was like, my house is clean. And she's like,
it's the dust on the mantle.
Yeah. She's like, it's not messy. You put all your clothes away and you put the dishes away. She goes, but clean. You got a lot of dusting to do. You got a little scrub.
Look at those baseboards.
Oh, that was. Oh, the baseboards got me.
I get you every time. Every time.
So, but maybe that's okay. Yeah, we took a little potty break, everybody, because we had to, you drink these cocktails and some wine or some water. Let's take a little break from the conversation we're having about the difference between men and women and all this stuff, and let's focus a little bit more on the event. About we're there. It's January 26th. It's at this event space in Havelock. And what if I have a ticket? By the way, can guys come to this thing?
No.
No.
Sorry, Max, you're not invited.
Actually, I appreciate
it. It's a safe space for women.
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that women feel uncomfortable asking questions in front of men sometimes. It's all about feeling like you can't ask for help and feeling like you can't show any weakness. And it's a safe space for women to ask those questions, to be vulnerable. And as a result, even if you're a sponsor and you want to send a representative, it needs to be a female representative.
Yeah, you know what?
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
So
Point.
All vendors should be female as well.
yeah, so we do our best to cater and do dessert and all that with photography. Everything is all female.
What will you do when there's something up on the top shelf? Who gets that?
The tallest woman in the room.
We have step ladders. There's tools for that. There are tools for that.
Just being the asshole.
But yeah, no. So you roll up. Tickets are available on the website. It's $75 if you're not a member. Or actually, no, it's $50 if you're a member, $75 if you're not. And then if you want to join, it's $100 and it gives you a year membership to We Power Food, which is a $100 fee to begin with. So basically, you're paying for your membership and go to the conference for free at that point.
Okay.
So and you get the full year membership meetings and all our resources and everything. So from there, you're rolling up. You're being able to sign up for headshots as a part of that. I mean, that right there. I paid $300 for my headshots.
Yeah.
You can also get a picture of you with your product. So being able to use that for marketing and social media, all of that.
Awesome.
That alone is amazing. From there, we've got, let me think here. We're having a conversation with the board, talking about the future of We Power, where we see things going, and benefits of membership, obviously kind of prerequisite. From there, we're talking about our pitch competition.
And we're also talking to women who have been members of We Power and how it has impacted them over the years, which then leads into we are really, really excited and proud to be able to announce that we are doing our first pitch competition.
Oh, yeah.
And so Ariana has put so much work into this.
Just bring your microphone a little closer.
That I would love for you to really talk to.
Yeah, so Sue is awesome and has gotten us a grant from NC IDEA, and a part of that was funding from, was it Wells Fargo? And that funding is $25,000 that we have to just give to women food entrepreneurs who are in Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties. So for people who don't know the lingo, that's basically the most rural counties in North Carolina. Okay. There are, 90?
100
counties
in North Carolina. Any of them are
80 counties are Tier 1, Tier 2. So those are rural counties that don't have as much economic development. And so we have to hand over $25,000 to women in Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties. And so we had to figure out a way to do that. So we put together a pitch competition. We're giving out 4 different prizes in that $25,000. And then We Power Food is throwing in an extra 5 to cover all the rest of the counties as well. So if you're in a more affluent county like Wake or New Hanover or Mecklenburg,
still apply.
You can still apply and potentially win some funding. And the idea with that is we're going to work on building your story and your pitch and helping women think about the value of their business and how to market their business to people and tell their story
and their confidence
and build that confidence for them. Yeah. And then potentially just give them some money to help them scale. This is for female farmers who want to add a value-added product to their line. They want to start a CPG program. Maybe they want to bring grandma's sauce to market, things like that. You have to already be an operating business in order to get this funding. Okay. But from there, it's scaling, it's adding, maybe you need a website, maybe you need branding, maybe you need a logo, maybe you need label design, package design. There's a whole bunch of different things this money could go towards, but there are 4 different prizes for the 25, and then we've got the 1 prize for the 5 for everybody else. And we're super excited about it. It's going to be, I think, about a 6-week-long program where we meet and talk and help people kind of hash through a business model and a pitch. And then even if you don't win, you can take that pitch to get funding and investors elsewhere. And then build that confidence in telling your story.
How much networking is going on in this environment?
Yeah.
Okay, my ex, Felicia, whatever, everybody knows who she is, and she's awesome. Food Scene, that's her company. She is an excellent networker, and she loves going to places that, where she looks at things like, I need practical application for things. I need to know that what do you do for a living? Oh, you do this? Oh, cool. Here's something I do. This is how we can both help each other out. Whether that person might be her vendor or she might be that person's client, or, she's selling to them. It's like you're trying to figure out something. And I think in these scenarios, especially while trying to boost women's confidence and also the collaboration, it's to physically or literally know, okay, your business can help this person's business and go. So how does that look for the conference?
For the conference,
So yeah, that's actually the number one feedback that we've gotten from previous conferences was that they wanted more networking time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've worked in actual networking time for this. We're also giving members opportunities to set up as a vendor and be able to even sell their product to other members, and tasting rooms so you can actually taste each other's products. And I think that the networking aspect is probably the biggest piece of that.
Yeah.
Right. So we've built in a few different kind of segments of time where you can mingle and have coffee, and we're gonna, we're working on maybe putting together a mentorship program because once again, having someone, a specific person to reach out to when you have questions or struggles is really important. We've had a lot of members talk about needing mentors or wanting to mentor, and so we're gonna facilitate a little bit of that during this as well.
I mean, if you look in the parallel, like what have men done in the past? And obviously, and I'm only saying this because there's success in like what these guys have done, like men generically, they golf. But golf, if you just think about it inherently, is this thing where you're playing this sport, quote unquote, but it takes like 3 hours to do. And there's definitely a competition in it, and there's technique and all that, but there's a lot of downtime. So that's where you start talking about, hey, Bill, what does your business do? And now you're just talking about business now, whatever. And so many deals get done on the greens,
You start to see how your businesses can help one another, how maybe you know someone who can help their business.
Yeah. And most guys playing golf are drinking too. So they're also by the 12th hole are a little loose.
Right.
So they're like, I'm a little bit more excited to have you come on as our dedicated vendor for this, and shit really does happen on the greens. Mm-hmm. So in a parallel, and I'm not telling women to go golf, although women love to golf just like anybody, but creating an environment where the networking really gets to the core, I think is also vital, right?
Well, one thing we do is we always do a social before the conference, the night before the conference.
Oh, that's cool.
Because you have a lot of women who will come to this conference and they don't know anybody.
Yeah.
And that can be incredibly intimidating. And I have been so impressed with the events we've done in the past where women have shown up, and we've done them in different places, bars, restaurants, whatever it is. And you see them walk in and you can immediately tell they're looking around. They don't know where they're supposed to go. We don't put balloons or signs up or anything. And we kind of just, hey, and they come over and they're kind of shy at first, but then they sit there. They're there for 10 minutes and they're embraced. They're welcomed. People want to know what their product is. They're enveloped in love.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah.
And they start talking and they talk about their products. And then it's like, hey, you should meet this person down here. Check out what they're doing and maybe you guys could collaborate. I love connecting people. We had a cookie maker who I connected with an ice cream maker, and boom, they were doing ice cream sandwiches. I love doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds like a nursery rhyme a little bit too. Generically speaking, and I don't know if you want to field this question or not, but old school mind of thought was women tend to not work well with each other, that there's a lot of
Is that true? Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so why is that?
Well, I don't know why it is, but one of the first events that I saw that made me realize We Power was a success was a meeting, an in-person meeting. This was pre-COVID. So we used to meet in person, and we would meet over at PFAP, the kitchen that I manage. And we had 3 women sitting next to each other at a table. 2 of them were experienced food producers and had been producing a line of products, but they both made relish. And there was a new woman who came in and she wanted to start making relish. And listening to those other 2 women be like, this is where you can get cucumbers from. It's going to be hard to get cucumbers in the middle of winter. So, check out these people. And here's where you can get glass. And, have you checked with this person and done this? And it was like, I wasn't even part of that conversation. I was just in the room and I was just observing it. And that was the moment I thought, you've got something here.
That's cool.
But I also...
Rather than these 3 women who in the same industry...
in competition with each other.
Competition with each other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah, because I don't know, maybe it's from nursery rhymes and from stories Brothers Grimm stories, Aesop fables, but it's always like the woman is vying for the love of the man, or it's like a competition. Like Cinderella is the perfect example, right? Like she's got her ugly stepsisters, which it was like they even alluded to that they were ugly, like they like
moles on their
right. So like her whole thing was like I'm
big ugly sheep.
it's like in today's standards, it's a pretty lousy message, right? But it's like, you have to be dainty, you have to be beautiful, and also kind of just like subservient, whatever. But also like you had to win the affection of the guy that actually had like the job. He was the prince. He's like well-to-do. So it's like all of that. So that was old school thinking. And I think that, but because young girls were taught that as a little one, that it's like, you need to be pretty and you need to like gain the attention of the man. And you kind of have to step on the throats of all the women that are around you so that you rise above,
it's the attention.
Yeah. And conversely, like guys, we play on a 53-man roster in football, and we need each other all of us to succeed, right? So like we work as a group. You're 5 starters in basketball. You've got the 6 guys on the hockey, rink. Like you got different lines. I'm tired. I'm going to go back. The next guy's going to come in after me. There's like literally sports. There's so much support, and like there's so much like egging you on to like be your brother's best guy. It's like I know this. I'm not even a big athlete, but it's like guys like we go to I was going to say go to battle, but like war, like military, it's like tends to be more male, and it's like I got your 6, I've got you, and like guys are there for each other in a way that like it's to a different level. It's like literally I'm gonna save your life, or we're gonna win this game. I'm gonna do everything I can do with my physical body to make this happen so that you can take us to the promised land, but just in that design, it's so different than like what women culturally have like been programmed to do. So
we've been pitted against each other for years.
Well, and there's studies saying that like getting your daughters into team sports is really important for their confidence. And I think a lot of that is there because when you don't have that and you don't have a team mentality, you feel very lonely. And I'm sorry, but entrepreneurship is a very lonely game.
It is.
Right? It doesn't matter who you are, male, female, doesn't matter. It is, especially the solopreneurs, right? It's just you. It is a very lonely aspect, and you don't have somebody to go to and talk to. And even if you do have a partner who's supportive, having people who are in the weeds also, right, to talk to about those things is really huge. And so it's basically creating a team. Right, for the women in the food industry, so that you feel like there are people who are supporting you and cheering you on. And, you might be in different parts of the state. And when it comes to local brands, people are going to be cheerleaders for their local brand, right? So unless those 2 relish people are going to the same farmer's market, they're really not your competition. Right. Neither of you are taking down, Mount Olive or, you know what I mean? You're doing your thing. And, ultimately, it's you probably both have different recipes, and it's gonna yours might be better on a hot dog, and yours might be better over there, and
Well, let's talk about like the next generation, and like I'm a parent. I have 2 daughters, right? My daughters are essentially 13 and 16, like in a couple months, but they're almost there, closer to that than not. I love having my daughters play sports, or like one loves to play sports. The other one got into cheerleading, and she's like, it's cool. She's kind of on the fence. She's not like, she has a ton of friends. She has a huge group of friends. So like she's getting that kind of teammate mentality just through her big circle of friends. But my older one, she plays tennis and sometimes plays basketball. And I encourage that, not for anything other than from what we just discussed, that like you go to battle with these people, like you're on a team and they need you. And like the commitment level sometimes is a thing that like wasn't taught to women very much, where it's like, go when you can, and you don't always have to. And then, and not to be too like lame when I say this, but like, oh, if you have cramps. Like you're not going to be there, right? Like whatever.
Women also learn that we can use that as an excuse.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's both. Yeah. It's both sides of it. Yeah. And that's part of like what men, I think in the work industry is that like, this woman's going to be great. if she's acting crazy for these next couple of days, oh, she's probably on a period, or whatever. Or, we're gonna work hard for all of this, and then she goes and gets herself pregnant,
Goes on maternity leave.
and then now like she's a teammate, she's gone. Essentially, it's like Pat Mahomes tearing his knee. Now he's gone for the rest of the season. It's like, well, we don't have our leader anymore because they decided to take themselves off the market, So like men, without cursing them, like without like just kind of like looking at it like, hey, I'm on a team. I want my person next to me to be there with me the whole time. But then they pull out because either A, they got cramps, and sometimes it's legit. Like, hey man, like, do you know what's going on in my body right now? Like, it's crazy. Like, if you had this going on right now, you would not be here right now. But it's that, or it's the big one is that, now I'm pregnant, so I'm going to be gone for like 8 months or whatever, like having the kid and taking care of them. So I think that's like sometimes men look at women on the job force as like, you're only good when you're here, but you're not always here. So it's hard for me to put long trust into you if we have major projects that we're working on that might take a couple years to get to. So I don't know. How do you guys tackle that problem?
I think that ultimately that's part of what's great about We Power is that they're all women, and whether they have children or not, I think that there's a certain amount of understanding and support that you get within that group. And because we're all doing our own thing, we're not necessarily working on a project together. We can often help people navigate those struggles. Because we've done it, or we know other people who have done it, and we can provide ideas and resources to help them navigate, having a kid and starting a business. When we launched Remedy, it was COVID and both kids were home.
Yes.
Right. And so I was teaching at Wake Tech.
How old are your kids now?
They're about to be 10 and 13.
Okay.
Birthdays are on the beginning of the year. So, it's so my son was in preschool and kindergarten, like
when all this
starting school. And I basically homeschooled him that year that he was in preschool and COVID was going on. And I was teaching at Wake Tech, and my daughter was doing virtual academy, and Rob was working upstairs for Red Hat. And, and I started the business. Right. And so it was a lot of juggling, and I, thinking about other women trying to start business and juggling all these things, if somebody's struggling with, well, I just don't know if I can do this thing for me because they feel like they're keeping the house up, they're taking care of the kids, they're maybe considering having another kid. And so being able to talk to people who have been in that situation and overwhelmed with all the things, but still made it work and have this thing now, right, that they're proud of and is going well, I think is huge, because at the very least, seeing yourself in someone else, right, and somebody who has a story that lines up with yours a lot, and having seen their success and what they're doing, I think is empowering in itself, which is part of what the Empowerment Conference is all about, is hearing stories of other women who have gone through it. So Sarah Cooney's coming to talk to us about her kind of career and all the things that she's done with Feedwell fridges. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, what she's been doing.
Yeah.
Like, for those that don't know, but it's just like she puts out these fridges throughout. She's out there in Pittsburgh,
Chatham County.
Thank you. And she just has these refrigerators that are stocked with food that's been donated, and a lot of times chef.
Yeah, she makes a lot of it herself.
Yeah, and she's an awesome chef herself.
Mm-hmm.
She has the Root Cellar, that's her restaurant, and so she'll fill these things up, and it's just a free refrigerator that anyone can go over, and there's no questions asked. It's like almost like the equivalent of going to get like one of those free newspapers, like the Metro or like LA Weekly. These are the things I do growing up in California. But you open the thing, you take one, you leave the rest because it's just honor system. Yeah. And it's a refrigerator that is just put in strategic places, like maybe at a gas station or a library or wherever, like where there's community, and you can just take it and be like, hey, like this is going to feed the family tonight, and it's really cool. And the fact that there's like kind of a no questions asked, it's like, you don't have to feel lesser than whatever, and you can just get it. Yeah, believe me. Somebody I know was telling me the other day, we were talking about finances and how everyone was struggling. and they revealed to me, they're like, I've been struggling so hard financially that I actually had the local church charity pay my rent this month. And when I looked at them, I didn't know that they were that bad off. But believe me, I know, like, sometimes I got to ask for help financially from like mom, who is a badass, or from whomever. And I'm like almost 50. It's like, what the hell's going on? But these times are tough. But it's like the fact that community is there for someone that, like, you ask for help, sometimes help is there. And if you don't ask for help, you ain't going to get it. But things like this, food, community, church, whatever, all of that stuff helps. So that's cool that you're able to do this in this organization that is, specifically focused for women. I think it's really nice. Let's not pretend that women and men are the same. Women are different. Women create children and bear these children and then have to nurse these children. So by virtue of that, women are different than men in the workforce and whatever. So to embrace that difference and that change, are there things that you're discussing about, like lessons or empowerment about either like young mothers or how you raise young women so that they feel like they can like fit in society in a progressive sense? I don't know.
So at the conference itself, we do a whole section on self-care every conference. So this one is by Jennifer Meyer, and she's doing it on basically, essentially putting on your own face mask first, right? Kind of the airplane mentality of like, you need to take care of you in order to take care of
you right first else, so that you can fix that.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's going to be a little bit of that. But beyond that, one of the mentalities that We Power kind of thrives on is the idea that empowered women empower women, right? Yeah. And whether you have sons or daughters, your kids seeing you thrive and be successful is huge, right? Because for the next generation, that means like my son knows that women can be strong leaders and bosses.
Hell yeah.
Right? And my daughter knows she can be a strong female boss, right? And can take control and do the thing that she needs to do. So, I think that, we do it for one another, but as a result, we're also doing it for the next generation. So,
I think that's cool. And I will actually say, just because I have children that are in these teen years and they're both women, I am very hopeful for the even leveling playing field for business going forward with men and women, in the sense that, like, I see the conversations that are being had between these teen boys and girls, and aside from like the sexuality stuff, like whatever, that's that. But when it comes to like schoolwork and work and collaboration, I feel like it's almost like they're so much better than we are. Like they don't look at each other like they're different sexes and race the same way. Like they don't look at each other like they're brown, they're yellow, they're red, they're white, they're green, they're blue. They're just like, whatever, that's just a person I know. Like I think foolishly or whatever, just because the way I was raised, my daughter said, "Oh, will you take me to such and such house?" And I'm like, "Who's that?" She's like, blah, 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 blah. And she's giving me like descriptions of like things they do or whatever. And I go, "Oh, the Indian kid?" And she's like, "Dad," and I go, "Well, it would be easier just to say it was the Indian kid, because then I know who we're talking about." Yeah. But of course, but to the point that holds true for her is that she didn't even acknowledge that her friend happened to be Indian, or that would be the distinguishing separator.
But personality traits, not physical indicators by like skin tone or
right. And that makes me hopeful for the future, in that I think that is becoming a lot more common, and the sexist thing too. Like I think like it's like, I feel like guys, at least the young boys that are around my daughters, tend to just like value these girls and like say like, "Hey, you should do this or do that." I see it a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just my perspective and I'm overgeneralizing. But I think that there is becoming a little bit more of a balance A lot more than it was when I was a kid.
Well, we have a lot more men who were raised by single moms
True.
these days than we used to, right? So,
And a lot more women that are in charge of businesses.
that too. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even ignoring business, if you were raised by a single mom and seeing her do all the things, then even if she doesn't have a business, right? You see women holding everything up, and I think that with increased divorce rates and then women just starting families by themselves, even with IVF and sperm donors, there's a lot more single moms out there. So there's a lot of people raised by single moms, and so I think that you see people recognizing the strength in even just being a mom, right, and running a household. So, there's that.
Yeah, and I think that's. I'm hopeful for the future, and I'm hopeful for all of this. And for one, I appreciate you guys coming on in. Let's, as we kind of like wind it down over here. I don't know if there's anything that hasn't a stone that we haven't unturned yet or unearthed that we wanted to discuss. We're talking about at the event. It is on January 26th. It's in Havelock. What's the location?
So the Havelock Tourist and Event Center in Havelock. And we have the hotel right next to it. I believe it's the Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
We have a room rate, a group rate there.
Oh,
so
cool.
if you want to come out the night before and do a social with us so we can network a bit more.
That's the best.
To do like a wine and cheese pairing the night before and kind of just socialize. And from there, if there's anybody out there who wants to sponsor the event, we are looking for sponsors. If you go to our website, wepowerfood.org, there is a link right at the top to the event. You can get all the information about what's going on at the event, link to the sponsorship page.
Then a sponsor would probably get their logos.
There's various different levels, but I mean, we're taking in-kind donations for swag bags. We're taking, we'll put your logo and talk about you on social media, on our printed things. There's even opportunities to potentially come into membership meetings and talk to us about what you do. So there's lots of opportunity for exposure within the food and bev industry. If you wanted to send a representative to it, it has to be female. And same thing with coming into.
Sorry, boys.
Send a female representative. But ultimately, I think that it's a great opportunity for women in the industry as well as people within food and bev to promote their business as well.
Well, I'll say this on the side. Aside from not being allowed to be at your event, the message that has come through, especially during like kind of when we talked about like the Me Too movement, that like things only change if everyone's on board.
Right.
And so men also need to be in support of these things because men that don't give a shit are going to keep those barriers up and like, keep it the way it is. But it's when like you also get guys to also come in and kind of see what's going on. So for maybe like all of my male listeners that are listening to the show and like have stuck around this long, all like 2 or 3 of you. No, I'm kidding. I'm like, I hope a lot of guys listen to this because they might have daughters. They definitely have a wife or like, or they have a lot of ladies and they have mothers.
They have a mother.
Yeah. So like, we didn't even get into like the LGBTQ side of it all too. But like, even that, it's like, there are a lot of like men that are gay, whatever, that also like want to support and like, really like delve into that too. So whatever, all of this, like getting support from everybody, especially like women together, but from on the fringe, men coming in to also support is also very helpful and beneficial. And I appreciate that you even called a guy that runs a podcast and said, hey, let's chat.
The good guys use their platforms for good.
Right.
And,
Right.
And ultimately, we're not anti-men. We just want to be there for one another and support each other in a way that men support each other all the time.
I don't think that comes across in any way. Like, I think you guys are just here to make as good as you can for what you're trying to do. And I appreciate you all doing that. So again, check our links in bio, check our social media. You'll find links to purchasing tickets and, you can get more information from there, but get out there, go to We Power Food. It is a 501c3. I can't even speak 501c3. And you're going to learn more about it. For women in the industry that want to know more about it, food and beverage, you got on this podcast, you wanted to listen to the food and beverage. Well, this is specific to what you guys are all about and what you want to do. So I really applaud it. I won't be there, No way. I'll be here. But I appreciate what you're doing. So thank you both, Ariana.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on. Absolutely. Thank you, Max.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I will see you guys, I guess, in the new year. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. I don't think I'm going to do an episode before this or whatever. So
Happy solstice.
Yep.
happy solstice.
Hanukkah.
Happy Festivus. Festivus. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There it is. Krampus. Festivus.
Yada, yada, yada.
Krampus. We got them all here. Go get yourself some Remedy bitters while you're at it. I'm going to drink this. Maybe we'll Mike. We might have a little sip of this Trujillo tequila. But all right, guys. Thank you all so much. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. By rating us online, you're helping others to discover our show. Follow us on all platforms at NCFB Pod.